Hello and welcome back to the Morning Jackpot presented by SoBet.io. I am your host, Jack Cody, and we are here to break down Minnesota versus Dallas Game 5. We're also going to talk about the standard of being a Boston Celtics superstar, the standard of being Jayson Tatum. We're going to talk about top 10 duos and maybe a top 10, top 5 players in the game of basketball. Who knows what we're going to talk about today in terms of debating the superstars, because that conversation is always relevant. It's always fluid. The list is fluid. And to me, I think my top 5 duos list is pretty darn good. So I'll be sharing that later in the show. Make sure you tune in for that. We also have a special guest joining the show, Nasty, and he's got himself into a little bit of a beef. So I'm excited to learn more about what the world of Nasty is dealing with on a daily, and calling out his shots, calling out his people, saying, you know what? You're fraudulent. I love it, Nasty, but excited to have him on the show. And then we'll get to the play of the day. We'll get to the best bets and what we think exactly is going to happen here in Minnesota versus Dallas Game 5. I'm thinking to myself, in tonight's game, all I'm really thinking about is what happened last year. Well, the Celtics were in a very similar position. So how was I feeling in this moment as a Celtic guy, right? When we were down 3-0, all we had to do was focus on just winning game 4. Once we won game 4, the rest, it was just about you control your own destiny, win one game at a time, take it one game at a time. And next thing you know, you're going to have yourself a game 7 on your home floor to decide it. And Tatum rolls his ankle, and that's the story of our lives right now until Tatum wins a championship. But if I'm the Minnesota Timberwolves, I'm looking at being down 3-1. You're going to have 2 home games out of 3 games. You get to start at home. So it's not like you got to go on the road for game 5. You get to start at home, create more momentum. We all know who has the momentum right now. Say it's Dallas. It's not. Minnesota feels better about themselves than they have all playoffs. They have to carry themselves with confidence. And by the way the media has reacted to Minnesota going down 3-0 to Minnesota going down 3-1, they have nothing to lose. Minnesota, if they lose tonight, the media comes on air tomorrow and says, by the end of next year, Anthony Edwards might be the best player in the league. They won't say anything negative about it, which is why Minnesota is playing with house money in many ways. So that's why I think they can make some noise here. But if you just talk about game 5 and what happens tonight and what happened in game 5 last year when Boston was down 3-1 against a hot, popular, star-studded Jimmy Butler, right? So Luka Doncic, Jimmy Butler, 2 kind of similar guys who have taken over the show. I'm going to say this. I think Minnesota will win tonight for the simple reason of they are at home and their role players are going to play better than Dallas's role players. That is how I look at this game 5. And that's exactly what happened last year in game 5 for the Boston Celtics. Tatum and Brown had game 4 performances that were magnificent. I believe Tatum went for like 40 points in game 4, kept the season alive. And then in game 5, it was Derek White. It was Al Horford. It was Marcus Smart. It was Robert. Like, it was every single role player on the Celtics that came to rise in that game 5 when you're down 3-1. Why? Because you know that your superstars, they got to be there in game 6. And they were. Tatum was magnificent in game 6. Brown was magnificent in game 6. Derek White, who we think is this role player, saved the day and was magnificent. The X factor tonight, say it's Anthony Edwards going for 30, which is what I normally say. Say it's Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, playing at their best. No, it's nothing other than, does Minnesota's role players play the way that I expect them to play on their home court? Role players play better at home. Do not be blind to the fact that Minnesota dropped game 1 and 2 on their home court. Don't be like, because they lost game 1 and game 2, well, they're not a good home team anymore. Those are made up stories by the media. That is narratives trying to be created by the media. Like the Celtics lose a game 2 in back-to-back series, and everyone says they're a 500 team at home. Okay, I'll play a home game. I'm cool. If I had to pick, I'd probably play a home game. Like, say what you want about the Celtics not being good at home and being better on the road. That's a myth. That is a myth, okay? But man, we have ourselves quite the episode today, and I'm excited just to kick it off like that, knowing that we needed to set the tone here. Game 5, it's not a must-win for any. This is the series. Game 5 is the Super Bowl. Like Kyrie said last game, and Minnesota came to play. Minnesota made the plays late. Kyrie didn't play well. Luka didn't play well. I'm going to say there's 3 X factors tonight. We're talking Minnesota. We're talking Dallas. Game 5. This is actually a good point here in the chat. We got, if Derek Lively is playing, we winning tonight. That's definitely a big X factor. Lively has been so spectacular as a rookie in these playoffs. You don't see that a lot out of rookie role players, but it's a beautiful thing when a rookie comes into the league and understands he has a role. He can have a role, as a matter of fact. He might not be given a role because he thinks that he can be the next Michael Jordan and he wants to act like it and play like it, when in reality, as a rookie, it's not going to translate that way right away. Lively comes in and he's like the perfect big man for Luka Doncic, the perfect pick and roll guy for both Luka and Kyrie. So Lively is a big missing piece if he doesn't play tonight. But I think the 3 X factors are obviously everyone off the bench for Minnesota. Minnesota got to have a better bench tonight. Their role players have to step up. The second X factor is Karl Anthony Towns. If Karl Anthony Towns shoots the ball well tonight, if he makes 4 threes, let's just say if Karl Anthony Towns hits his over on threes, Minnesota wins tonight. That's just how it goes. Karl Anthony Towns has been so magnificent. No, he hasn't been magnificent. When Karl Anthony Towns is magnificent, Minnesota plays well and Minnesota wins. What happened in game 7? Karl Anthony Towns showed up and Nikola Jokic is watching at home right now. So if I'm the Minnesota Timberwolves, I rely on my role players to hit threes tonight. I rely on Karl Anthony Towns to step up and have himself a game. And if you're Karl Anthony Towns, just be uber aggressive. That's your job. You're a star. You're supposedly the best shooting big man of all time. Prove it. He was great in game 4. Follow it up. Use the momentum, the hot streak of game 4. Bring it to game 5 and control your own destiny. I guarantee you, Minnesota will get this to a game 6. Game 6, that's the toughest task. We all know that. Last year, I relate it back to the Celtics series. We all know that game 6 in Miami was the one we just had to win. We knew it was going to be the toughest task. We knew it was going to take a Derek White putback with 0.3 on the clock for us to get it back to Boston. But sometimes that's what it takes in the game of basketball. You got to trust that if you win game 5, if you're Minnesota, this is how realistic a 3-0 comeback is. I don't know why it's never been done before. That's my question. It's like, throughout all the years of the NBA, how has the 3-0 comeback never taken place? All you have to do is, I'm trying to make it simple. It's not simple. Clearly, there's a reason why it's never been done before. All you have to do is win game 4. Well, then you got to win game 5, 6, and 7. But you win game 4, and then you get a home game for game 5. So you win game 5. Then it's a 2-game series. I don't understand how this has never been done before. Game 6 is the only one you really have to win. And then game 7 is where, like, the away team's like, oh, we just lost 3 games in a row and we're about to blow a 3-0 lead. We can't do this. And then they show up in game 7, but that's also the winner go home game and nothing else matters other than game 7. I do not know how this has never happened before. And I'm honestly fully expecting Minnesota to come back and win this series in 7. Everyone's talking about Dallas versus Boston in the NBA Finals. We're all talking about it. Let's pump the brakes. Let's pump the brakes. If y'all really like Anthony Edwards, if you truly appreciate the greatness of Anthony Edwards, then show it to him. Show it to him. Where's the love when he's down 3-1? I'm riding Jayson Tatum. Pause. I'm riding Jayson Tatum when he's down 3-0, up 3-0, 1-1, 2-0, losing every single game and winning every single game. It doesn't matter because I saw it. I saw a sliver of hope. I saw a moment. I saw moments of greatness out of Jayson Tatum that told me whatever he does, he will continue to learn, get better. And as time goes on, he will prove his greatness from a statistical measure and a perspective measure. Now I'm just saying words. Does it hurt the legacy of Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards if they don't get it done tonight? No. So that's kind of my main point here. The first part of the show, I'm like, if you're Minnesota, you're playing with house money. Everyone is already talking about Boston versus Dallas. Everyone thinks it's already over. Nobody's going to say anything about Minnesota in a negative fashion if they lose tonight, other than you probably got to trade Karl Anthony Towns, or Rudy Gobert is the most fraudulent defensive player of the year award of all time, and he has 4 of them. How is that even possible? They're not going to say a lick about Anthony Edwards. He's 22. He just knocked off the defending champs. You can't say anything else. I'll say something. I'll be here. I'll be like, hey, Tatum's in the finals. Where's Edwards? But at the same time, Edwards and Cat, they have the ability to do something that has never been done before. And I think if there's any locker room, if there's any group of dudes, if there's any duo in the NBA that has this swagger and just, I don't care about anything, I'm going to just go out there and win mentality, it's these two guys, surprisingly. Anthony Edwards, he was down, they were down 3-0. They're down 3-0, and he's mic'd up. And his tone is like they're up 3-0. The way he's portraying himself, the way he walks around, the way he talks to his teammates, the way he shoots the rock, the way he attacks the rim, the way he scores 14 points in an opening quarter. It's the leaders that set the tone in different ways. And just by having that loose energy in a game 4, where if you lose, your season's over, and not only is your season over, you lose in the Western Conference Finals, you miss out on your chance to go to an NBA Finals, and you get swept. And he was just calm, cool, and collected and enjoying the moment. And I think that's a beautiful I got to take notes from that, because sometimes you get in these pressure moments and you just get like all antsed up. You get nervous, you get scared. When in reality, you just got to approach every situation fairly similar so you can just be prepared. You know what to expect. I feel like Anthony Edwards in game 1, game 2, and game 3, he was not himself. He felt like he was antsed up, putting too much pressure on himself, not playing the way he should have been playing, but he wasn't himself. In game 4, he returned to that Anthony Edwards that we all know and love, I think. So that's the beauty of it. But man, it's going to be a great game tonight. And we got Nasty joining the show very shortly. But I quickly want to go on SoBet here and see, recap the night, see if anybody had some good nights. If you're not already on SoBet, make sure you sign up for SoBet using code Jackpot. We got a chat here. Let's see what we got. Please leave a chat and ask a question. I'm happy to answer any questions that are left in the chat. Who do you think has better role players, Mavs or T-Wolves? I think Mike Conley stands out. I think Rudy Gobert in many ways is a role player. Naz Reid. I'm going to say the Timberwolves, or at least at home tonight. That's my point, is like they both have great role players, which is why they're in the Western Conference Finals. But game 5, I guarantee you the Timberwolves role players will play better than the Mavericks role players. All right, let's hop on SoBet here. Let's see what we got rolling on SoBet today. Please, when I get back from this SoBet shout out, I better have a bunch of questions in the chat. We get ready to roll. All right, fellas. So, what is this? This is what you've seen on the SoBet feed. You're missing out. You're missing out on Justin Bieber, if anything. You're not finding these videos anywhere else. On my way to lab, a fourth straight. Ooh, so Sharp Dimes has had 3 straight winning days. He's going for a 4th straight winning day. That is impressive stuff. All right, let's get off of Justin Bieber here. Man, the Mets suck. Shout out. All right, let's see if we got some MLB plays. Astros money line, Red Sox money line, Yankees team total over 4.5 runs. Did the Yankees win last night? I don't think they did. Yankees first 5. Yep, that's a bang. Happy Thursday. What we got, Parlay Poppy? Under 8.5 runs for the Brewers Cubs game. I love that. If Cubs and Brewers, they don't score any runs. Bang, sweep. Oof. Let's see this. So the Oilers won last night. That's fire. Let's see how Gutsy did. Let's see here. Gutsy goo. Damn, my arm is hurting. Damn, we got some cashes here. Look at that. Splekak. Look at that. Sharp Dimes. Great live today. Cubs first 5, Royals first 5. Yankee. I think he had a winning day. Lloyd had a winning day. That's great. Let's do it, Lloyd. Nasty. Mets, Mariners, but they play these games off of odd lines. I think Nationals won. All right. Let's get back into it, fellas. Who do I think is going to win game 5? Minnesota. If you might want to rewind a little bit because I gave a lot of description on why they win, but throughout the show we will be talking about why exactly Minnesota is going to win this game tonight. With Kristaps definitely back for the finals, how many games do you think it'll take for the Celtics to win and why? I think we got it in 5. If we lock in, we're capable of winning in 5. With that being said, I'm not complaining if it goes 6. I'm not complaining if it goes 7. Just give me a title. Just get it done. Whatever it takes. The last time I said we'd win in 5, we won in 4. And I remember 2 years ago when we opened up with the Brooklyn Nets, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving in round 1. I thought we were going to win in 5. And I thought that Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving could truly challenge us. But I also felt like, respectfully, we were the better team. We were the up-and-coming team. It was Tatum versus KD. And I felt like in that moment, Jayson Tatum was becoming the better, stronger player. That was just the nature of it. And so the Celtics win that series in 4 games. I predicted they'd win in 5. Then the first 2 series of this year, we win in 5. I predicted they'd sweep both of those first-round teams. In the 3rd round, I predicted that the Celtics would win in 5, and they won in 4. So to answer your question, if I do predict that they win in 5, according to the logic, the Boston Celtics will sweep whoever they play. If Tatum wins a ring this season, where do you rank him all time? Buckle your seatbelts. He would already be top 25 all time. And to give you guys an understanding of where he truly is among the top 25, ask yourself, where do you rank Kevin Durant all time? Ask yourself, where do you rank Kevin Durant all time? Is it 12? Do you put him in the top 10? I don't think really anybody puts KD in the top 10, maybe 10. I've flirted him in the 10 to 12 range before. Some people have him at 15. If Jayson Tatum wins the championship this year, I believe it'll be a bigger and better and greater accomplishment than any of Kevin Durant's rings. And to just add to that statement, if Jayson Tatum wins the title this year, his career is already more of an accomplishment than Kevin Durant's. I wouldn't rank him ahead of KD yet necessarily, but he's on track because you got that ring in the place where you started it and you created it. Everybody's saying that the Celtics are surrounded with great players, and Tatum's been around the best play all-stars. He just has so much help. I'm going to pull a quote from Tom Brady. I was listening to this morning. Brady said this morning, he said, watch someone else do it at a very high level and then try and emulate with your own personality. Watch someone else do it at a very high level and then try and emulate it with your own personality. I feel like Tatum in many ways has been surrounded with really good veteran players. The Celtics have done such a good job to surround Tatum with those type of players that he's become so great each and every year, and he just gets better. But anybody saying that the Celtics are a super team or that Tatum has all this help, y'all need to realize this team was created with Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They drafted Brown with the 3rd pick. The next year, they drafted Tatum. If that doesn't happen, if they don't trade Pierce and Garnett to the Brooklyn Nets for those 2 picks, and if we don't get Brown and Tatum, this team, I don't know what it is. I think we're probably still middle of the pack, upper tier, but not the 1 seed. For the last 15 years of my life, watching the Celtics, before we got Tatum and Brown, we were middle of the road to upper tier because we were a big market. We were the Boston Celtics, but we didn't have the dudes. We didn't have the guys. We had IT, right? Isaiah Thomas was awesome. He wasn't going to win us a championship. That's the difference between those teams and this team is we have Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who are not arguably, 100% undoubtedly top 12 players in the league. I heard somebody say, Nick Wright, actually, I'm not going to say somebody. Nick Wright said that the Celtics have the 6th or 7th best player in the game of basketball right now. 6th or 7th best. My mom's texting me trying to debate me on my own show right now saying Pierce and Garnett. If I said 15 years, I meant to say like 11 years. After the Pierce and Garnett era, that was when everything kind of became mediocre, and it was like we still had Rondo for a period of time. We got the Avery Bradley, but we were always making the playoffs. We were never capable of winning a title with those teams. Why is this Celtics team a favorite? And nobody's saying like, hey, man, this is the team to beat. I think everybody's saying that, but respectfully, they're discrediting it because Nick Wright says the Celtics have the 6th or 7th best player in the league. Jayson Tatum he's not a top 5 player in the game. He's been the best player for the past 2 years, maybe 3. Outside of Jokic, who has been better? Nobody. Why is he not top 5? Because he's 26? Because he doesn't have an MVP? Y'all do realize that the MVP award is a media award, right? You do realize that the MVP award means absolutely nothing. You're right. I'm right. You're wrong. I agree, bro. Big fan of yourself. Celtics and Tatum, of course. Drew and D. White will come up huge for sure. Ethan, very well said. It's Celtics, it's Tatum. That's what we talk about. But you never got to appreciate the greatness around Tatum. People make it a bad thing that we have a great team, that we have a great, supporting cast. The people that are complaining about that are the people that don't have a great supporting cast for their team. Like, my goodness, everybody in America would wish they had a Derek White. Everybody wishes they had a Drew Holiday. Everybody wishes they could just bring Kristaps back for a finals. We have a luxury, and that is because of Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum. If it were not for Tatum and Brown and their play over the last 7 to 8 years of the start of their career, if they weren't that good, this would not be a team. This would not be the greatest starting five that I have ever seen. This would not be the best starting five in the NBA like it is. My goodness, man. Nick Wright also said that the Celtics are a top 15 team in terms of regular season record all time. They're a top 10 team in terms of all these different numbers, offensive percentages, defensive percentages, whatever you want to call it. He threw out all the numbers. I'm not going to reiterate them. He basically said the Celtics are capable and statistically proven to be a top 5 to 10 greatest team of all time. And then he followed that statement up by saying, and when I watch them, I don't see that. But you use all these different statistics to prove all of your other statements right. But when statistics are being proven right for the Celtics, you're going to use statistics in a negative way. Got it. 100%. Nick Wright, you're wrong. Dallas is not winning the title. The Boston Celtics are. I think everyone in the media does not want to admit how good the Celtics are. That's all it is. Struggles? They lost 2 games. They lost 2 games in the playoffs. That doesn't happen. I don't care who you're playing. The Pacers played the best 4 games they've played all season long against us. Yep, 1,000%. If we win this year, this would easily be the best Celtics team to ever win the finals. That's a great question. That you didn't mean it as a question, but I'm going to make it a question. Who's the greater Celtics team of all time, the 2024 Celtics or the 2008 Celtics? Who wins? I'm taking this year's Celtics. If we have Kristaps on the floor, healthy, if everyone's fully healthy, this Celtics team, this 2024 Celtics team is better because Tatum's better than Pierce. I would say that Garnett's probably better than Kristaps, but this Celtics team, this starting 5, people don't realize the weapons that this starting 5 has. There's not another starting 5 in the league that can say that they have 5 dudes that can make something happen. There's always a weak link. There's always a role player. There's always a dude that can't shoot the 3. For the Celtics, they only have dudes that shoot 3s. That's all they do. And then they take it to the rack, they make plays. That's why they're the greatest team of all time. I actually wanted to bring this up when talking about all-time Celtics, the 2024 team versus the 2008 team. I think we just take a look back in time here, and we understand what is the greatest starting 5 of all time for the Celtics if you could build it. If you could build an all-time Celtics starting 5, what would it be? Not all in their primes, how they were with the Celtics. So I'm not putting Shaquille O'Neal anywhere near this list. So my all-time Celtics starting 5, I'm going to have a first team and I'm going to have a second team. The first team, at point guard, I'd have Bob Cousy. At shooting guard, I would have Larry Bird. Now, the reason I have Bird at shooting guard is because I think if it was in today's game, if I'm trying to create this team based off of today's game of basketball, Larry Bird would remind me a lot of a Luka Doncic. Larry Bird is very much like a Luka Doncic in terms of their play style, the incredible three-point shooting, the ability to cook everyone and anything at all times, have the swagger to beat anyone off the dribble, but you play at your own pace. I think Larry Bird would be a perfect shooting guard who could even control the ball and damn near play point guard for this team. But I am trying to create the best starting five of all time for the Celtics. This is not about positions. I'm creating the positions because I'm the coach. I'm the GM. Ethan, appreciate your chat. I'll look at that starting five in just a sec. But for me, it's Bob Cousy at point guard. At shooting guard, Larry Bird. At small forward, Jayson Tatum. At power forward, Kevin Garnett. And at center, Bill Russell. Bob Cousy, Larry Bird, Jayson Tatum, Kevin Garnett, and Bill Russell. That's the greatest starting five among any of the all-time team starting fives. Bring me the Lakers. The second team, guys that I left off, but it's hard to not mention them when you're talking about the all-time Celtics. This would be the second team. Rajon Rondo at point guard. I almost had Rondo at point guard on the first team, but my dad, I guess, convinced me to put Bob Cousy at point guard for the all-time first team because of his ability, because of his shooting ability. And yeah, I have played NBA 2K with the all-time Celtics, and I get it. Bob Cousy has one of the best three-point shots in 2K. Bob Cousy might be one of the more underrated players, not in the game of basketball, but in the game of NBA 2K. All the old heads are like, what are you saying right now? So Rondo, point guard for the second team. John Havlicek would be my shooting guard. I'm leaving Ray Allen off because, there's too many great Celtics to have Ray Allen on this. Small forward, I would do Paul Pierce. Pause. Small forward would be Paul Pierce. Power forward would be Kevin McHale. Would it be Kevin McHale? Yes, it would be Kevin McHale. Power forward would be Kevin McHale. And the center, that would be Robert Parrish. Who did I leave off? Who did I miss? Nobody, because my answers were perfect. All right, Ethan, what do you got? Rondo, Bird, Tatum, Garnett, Russell. So that is exactly what I had before my dad sent me a text saying you have to take Rondo and put him on the second team. And you got to have Cousy as your point guard. I respect my dad's opinion from the older man, in his information that he gives, because his perspective was a little different than mine, is a little different than mine in terms of that older generation of basketball. So I tend to rely on him to at least educate me on the Larry Birds of the world, the old heads of the world. But man, that would be a great starting five too. And I think the thing that Rondo does that Cousy, I don't know if Cousy does. Like, I'm not going to speak for what Bob Cousy did other than the fact that I love playing with him on 2K. But with Rondo, he brings like that entertainment aspect of just being the perfect point guard. There's not a lot of point guards like Rondo in today's game anymore. It's changed. You got to be able to shoot the three, and it's not a lot of pass first guys. Rondo, in many ways, if you put him on the court from a defensive standpoint, from a passing standpoint, and just a leadership standpoint, he's almost a better option for the first team because you have Larry Bird, Jayson Tatum, and Kevin Garnett trying to score the basketball. And then you got Bill Russell at center, which I don't know what to expect out of Bill Russell. I just assume he wins a lot of championships. But this is a hell of a starting five, and I would probably go with this starting five if I, wasn't interrupted by my dad's text saying that Cousy needs to start over Rajon Rondo. I mean, I used to go to Celtics games early just to watch Rondo warm up. I mean, I'll watch Tatum warm up. But like, bro, seeing Rajon Rondo warm up, You'll never get something like that back in your life. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, exactly, Ethan. I think that the younger generation sees Rondo and just appreciates him for who he was as a basketball player because that art of the point guard position, we don't know which direction it's heading in. Well, I actually do. You have to shoot the 3. But the pass first point guard in many ways is dying. And we just got to see like how can we still allow for like a Rajon Rondo to be a point guard, who doesn't have that electric 3-point shot? Well, you got to be John Morant. You got to be able to jump out the gym. You got to be able to dunk on dudes and do spinning 360 layups. That's just there's no more pass first point guards, man. It's sad. How many rings do you see Tatum and Jaylen Brown winning together? How many rings do you see Tatum and Jay Brown winning together? 6. How many y'all think? Me personally, I have 6. That's the number in my head. When I do the math, I'm looking at the next 5 years and I'm saying we're going to win at least 4, maybe 5. And then you got to imagine they find a way to win one more. But we're about to witness the greatest dynasty in the history of sports. You thought the Celtics had their dynasty? Come again. There's a new era of life being entered into the NBA right now. Nobody understands the greatness of the duo of Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They just simply don't. Rondo was the reason I started supporting the Celtics 15 years ago. Being from Australia, I've never got to see them play or warm up. Don't mean I won't support them for life. I'm saying for minimum. Yeah, man. Listen, shout out. I hope you get to see Tatum at some point. That'd be cool. Get you to a game or something, you know? All right. Let's see what we got here. We got some free agents to talk about. I'm waiting for Nasty to hop on the show as well. So I'm going to send him the link right now, see if he hops on here. Nasty. Come on. There you go, buddy. All right, I just sent him the link. Let's see if he hops on. Hey, what you saying, Cap, in the chat for? All right, so I have a few things to talk about in terms of free agents right now. There's I'm going to say there's 6 names heading into this offseason, and I'm very curious about where they will end up. The first name would be Kevin Durant. He's not a free agent, but we just need to know, like, is this dude on the market? Is he available to go after? Or is he staying put in Phoenix? A lot of questions. We need answers. I'm here to give them to you. KD stays with the Suns. I don't think he moves. I think everyone talking about Phoenix is just saying negative things about it because they don't have a team with 3 superstars. Like, yeah, Bradley Beal probably isn't a superstar, but he's like a star. And he led the league in scoring one year. Kevin Durant is a superstar. Devin Booker is a superstar. Phoenix is okay. I would not try and break that up. If anything, I would try and get Beal out of the situation. But I'm not trying to get KD out of there. That's your only hope for a title. You don't win a title if you're Phoenix and you don't have Kevin Durant. You have Devin Booker and Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal. Build around it. There's enough talent in the goddamn world for you to just understand, hey, let's get a point guard. Let's get somebody who can control the offense. They already have Grayson Allen, so he's a scrappy 3-point shooter. I mean, Phoenix is fine. Phoenix is totally fine. So Kevin Durant, where are you going? You're staying. Phoenix. Unless you want to come back to Golden State. I'm cool with that too. Paul George. Where will Paul George end up? So recently it's been reported that the Clippers will not give him more than $152 million for 3 years, which is what they gave Kawhi Leonard. The Sixers, on the other hand, they're offering him 4 years for like 220 or like 210 or some shit. I'm sitting here thinking, Paul George to the not the Clippers, Paul George to the 76ers. That does absolutely nothing. I mean, maybe they get better. Maybe they get better because you just add a star, but you're not going to beat the Celtics. If you want to beat the Celtics, if you're the Philadelphia 76ers, don't go after Paul George. Go after Jimmy Butler. That will make some noise. That will be like, oh, Philly really wants to beat Boston. Because I heard Colin Cowherd talking about, Minnesota, they have Karl Anthony Towns, who's another guy on this list for me. Where will he end up? If Minnesota loses, you got to imagine that Minnesota might think about moving off of Karl Anthony Towns. Could he go to Golden State? I think a guy like Karl Anthony Towns, no. If I'm Minnesota, I would stay with Karl Anthony Towns. I would keep Karl Anthony Towns. But if Minnesota moves off of Karl Anthony Towns, what Colin Cowherd was saying is like, whatever Minnesota does, it'll very obviously indicate what they are trying to do in terms of which team they are trying to beat. Are they trying to beat Denver or are they trying to beat Dallas? And he explained that if they move off of Karl Anthony Towns, then that means that they're more afraid of Dallas and they have to gear to beat Dallas more than they have to gear to beat Denver because they've already done it and they know how to do it. But the thing with Denver is like you needed Karl Anthony Towns to step up because Rudy Gobert is useless. So if you trade away Karl Anthony Towns, you might be cooked against Denver. To me, I think Philly needs to do something very strategic. Boston is so good right now. Boston is so talented up and down. You can't just expect to walk into a Boston Celtics 7-game series, win 4 games against them if you only have like this 2-star duo. If you are the Philadelphia 76ers, you have to go get Jimmy Butler at all costs, whatever it takes. We got Nasty joining the show, so I'm going to put him on the panel, and we're going to get right into this madness. I am excited for this. Welcome, Nasty! Hey, you got a hat and everything. Show the camera. Oh, my God.
Oh, you like that? Look at that. Nasty Sports since 1990. You weren't even born, Jack.
Hell no.
You weren't even born. Established.
That's a nice gold and everything. Like,
yeah, you like that? A little gold, little rooster. That's it, man. Nasty Sports.
I love it.
Look how tired I look, man. Tired of doing this, Jack. I'm sick and tired of this shit.
What happened last night, Nasty? What happened?
No, I mean I went 3-1.
Right.
I mean, but it just the grind, just everything. It gets sometimes everyone you get tired of it, and then you reboot sometime in the day, and then you go, okay, let's just keep doing it. It's not that bad because I'm going to watch sports tonight, and so I might as well do it. So
I think definitely like this time of year, especially, you're realizing like, all right, we just went through a full football season. We started baseball. We're at the thick of NBA. We went through all March Madness. Like, I want to just go on vacation and like
once hockey and NBA are gone, and we're just left with baseball for that one stretch. It's just the most horrible feeling in the world.
Yeah, and that's an interesting time where you kind of have to capture like maybe not a new audience, but you can take advantage of the kids out there, not the kids, but like the people out there that don't bet on MLB or have any clue how to bet on baseball. And next thing you know, nobody has anything to bet on other than baseball and I guess the WNBA. But do you tend to like take advantage of those months as these are the baseball months?
No, sure. I try to use back in the day. before sports betting became legalized, and I was like more underground guy, right?
Yep.
Because you couldn't just put yourself out there because then you'd have someone knocking on your door. But I used to just do uh, football and basketball, and when that was over, I was done. I go lights out. I mean, just because it's good to give yourself a break. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's mentally, it is, and I preach this to all the guys on SoBet. Anyone that follows me on all my platforms, I said it's okay to take a break. Like if you feel like everything's starting to cross, all the numbers are starting to cross, you're out of a rhythm, you're not doing what you're usually doing, and you're doing some other sporadical shit. Because that's what happens as humans, we get bored really fast, and it's okay to take a break and say, let me reset myself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is if you get too big, like I have thousands and thousands of subscribers and people, half the people understand, and then the other half are like, hey, feed me. I just found you. I want to know what all the hype's about. Let me see. I want to make money. Where you at? You know what I mean? So it starts to just, weigh on your shoulders a little bit. But I tell people, listen, I take breaks sometimes because it's just good to, if not, I start shooting from the hip, and you guys don't want that nasty,
Yeah.
because I'll
No,
start getting nasty.
I think your most loyal followers and subscribers, like you kind of say, it's like the 50% of people that are like, yo, what the
Oh, for
fuck,
sure.
where are the picks? And then there's 50% that are like, no, totally take as much time as you need. I feel like with content, for me, sometimes when I get burnt out and I'm not necessarily posting as many clips as I should, there's that 50% that are like, yeah, no, it's cool, because when you come back in a week or 3 days with a fire take, it's going to be electric. And as a matter of fact, I needed a break from all of your Jayson Tatum takes. So that's awesome to see a different, new take, and you get a few days off of it. And then the other people are like, well, if you're not posting right now, then we'll go just find somebody new. And so you kind of find out who your true followers and subscribers are through all
Yeah.
those breaks.
1000% with you. It's like watching the same porno every time, because it's like, how many times can this guy suck Jason off? So I'm like, that's like watching my favorite porno chick. Like, how many times is she gonna just fucking raw dog it like this, right? So
But you keep watching it,
you
nasty.
keep watching. I want to see if you get any crazier with it. Now, and you do. You grab balls and everything. You fucking.
Oh, we're getting hot on today's show of the Morning Jackpot, presented by SoBet.io. Use code Jackpot to sign up. But nasty,
Yeah.
we got Minnesota, Dallas, Game 5. I want to talk about that a little bit and what you think, might happen over the course of the next 3 games. Obviously, Game 4, I don't know what side you were on, but I was on Minnesota's side simply for the fact of, no way is the NBA going to have 8 days off. It felt like they put the 3 referees, the 3 officials that know how to rig an NBA game more than anybody. Scott Foster was the head of it all. And I felt like the officiating truly took over in that fourth quarter. I was on Minnesota's side, so I wasn't complaining. But with that being said, it was like, what are we doing here? There was a whistle blown every other possession. And since All-Star break, there wasn't a whistle blown ever. They swallowed the whistle. So what was your thoughts on Game 4?
First, let me commend you, because as you're watching the game and probably had a little money on Minnesota, and you're able to still say, hey, the refs were involved and we were just on the right side, that means a lot, because a lot of guys won't admit that shit.
Yeah.
Second, I called it. I've been on tape a few times trying to call out this one. There's these brothers. I don't know if you've seen them. They sit in that little green couch, and he puts 10,000, and his brother went and put 300,000 on the Wolves minus 170 to win the series. I don't know if you saw all that.
No.
Anyway, so I've been making videos and stitching their videos on TikTok and shit. And I came out, he's down 3-0. He put $300,000 minus 170, and he showed the ticket. And the video was more about never delay a future bet, a future on anything that is minus money. Because a lot of things have to happen for you to collect that money. And if you're not getting plus 250, plus 300 at the minimum, I don't know what you're doing, right? But anyway, besides the point, I came out when they were down 3-0, and I made a video and I stitched the guy again. I said, listen, you're still a moron, in other words. And I said, but I think Minnesota's going to make this interesting. I said, they have the firepower on offense, and they have the firepower on defense. And if you look at a couple of those games, Dallas, it could have went either way. Luka misses that shot, or Ant doesn't turn the ball over. I mean, or game one or whatever. It could be, 2-2 right now.
I
Easy.
feel like Minnesota thought that they should have won all 3 of those first games, or at
For
least should
sure.
have been up
At least
2-1.
two. At least two.
Yeah. And so they're feeling, I think Minnesota feels better about themselves than they have all playoffs. And that's
Right.
all I have to do. I mentioned it earlier in the show, this idea that they're kind of playing with house money, because how is the media reacting to Minnesota losing right now? They're saying, well, Anthony Edwards is 22 years old. They have a lot of hope and promise. They have something to build from. You either trade Cat, you trade Rudy, or you do it, you run it all back, and everyone's just bigger and better next year. But there's no negative side to what Minnesota is doing right now. They are playing with house money, and they have the chance to not only win this series, make it interesting, they can create history and do something that's never been done before. And if there's a group that can do that, you got to imagine it's a 22-year-old with nothing to lose, right?
Right. No, for sure. And let me step back in there, and I'll say this is the perfect time in history, because there's really no one really focuses on defense that much, and the way the refs ref the game, and it's gotten better. This could be history here, because look, I fully expect that game's tonight, right? Minnesota.
Yep.
I fully expect Minnesota to blow out Dallas tonight. I mean, blow like 20 points.
It's role players stepping up at home in a game 5. This is what happened last year when the Celtics went down 3-0. Game 4 was a Tatum and Brown game where they both went for 35 or whatever it was. Game 5 was the role players at home. Game 6 was Tatum and Brown. Game 7, Tatum gets hurt. But if I'm applying the same formula that got the Celtics to a game 7 on their home court, I'm saying to myself, game 5 is where the role players rise, and you rely on who? Karl Anthony Towns to make some goddamn 3-pointers. That has to be the X factor for Minnesota tonight, I assume, correct?
No, 1000%. I mean, no matter where it comes from. I know you're breaking the game down, but I just think I don't know where in the fuck the points come from, and I'm sure you're right on the right track, and I haven't really dug into it, but this is a classic. Dallas thought they were going to win and just sweep and meet Boston in this glorious finals, right? Did you see the pregame where they're jumping around, they're throwing shots around, acting like kids? All right, you missed that. So that happened. Well, now Ant is now a 22-year-old kid, supposed to be the next Jordan. I mean, I see a lot of traits there. I see superstar, I see the smile, see the charisma. And now you have this kid saying, listen, we'll see you in game 6, right? Already saying, I will, and that's good. That's good. You're shaking your head no, but for a kid.
I'm shaking my head saying, holy shit, that's greatness. That's greatness. I don't want Anthony Edwards to be the next Michael Jordan, and there are a lot of traits, like you said. I'm seeing many traits.
Yeah, the kid's athletic ability among what happened with Jordan, and I'm going to get off track for a second because I lived through this.
Jordan. I need more 80s and 90s love in this show.
So I've been to many games, right? When Jordan, in the Jordan era, you missed it. All you got is YouTube now or some documentary. I was sitting like as I watch you sit at courtside or a few rows back watching Tatum play. I used to sit there and watch Michael Jordan play. Wow. And when I used to watch Jordan, I'd be like, this guy, I'd tell my buddies, I'd be like, this guy is not on no one's, he's in the league amongst the best players in the world, and he's not on their level. Like, he's playing a different game. And when I watch Anthony play, Anthony Edwards, it's the same thing. Like, how is this guy jumping? Like, I used to watch Jordan say the same thing. Like, how's this guy jumping out of the gym like this? And I know we use that term, like, because everyone can dunk in the NBA and we go, oh my God, that was a great. But when this guy takes off, it's like he's like literally taking off. And I'll put it this way. And I'm not going to sit there and start sucking this dude's nuts, but he has that same feeling that I get when I watch Jordan when he used to take off. Because Jordan's playing like,
now you're
Jordan would take off, and I'd be like, "What the fuck? This guy doesn't come down." Well, I get the exact same. I haven't had that feeling of watching, and it's not just this year. It's like that his dunk. What is it? When you watch all his dunk highlights and shit, the guy takes off differently, and he puts people on posters it's embarrassing. And so in that aspect, okay, you got all that going. Now let's get back to this. So game 5, I think is going to be a blowout.
Blowout.
Okay. The blowout, I think, is a blowout. Game 6, the pressure is so much on Dallas to go home knowing we got to get it done, or we got to now fucking pack up, travel back to Minnesota, and now deal with the crowd. Everyone amped up, like, and I think this might be, and I'm this close tonight. I don't want to put a bet. I'll probably put a bet on the blowout because I feel like that's easy money tonight. But I'm this close to putting. I think it's plus 1,000. You know, everything, records and everything are meant to be broke, and I think we're about to see that 154 series, and it's 0 right now, or 152, whatever it is, and 1. I think that they could do it. And here's the thing. Even if you do put the bet in at plus 1,000 right now, and they get to game 7, you have the most amazing hedge opportunity now, because it's going to be you're going to get Dallas at plus money game 7.
And I was about to just say, I think the 2 most likely scenarios right now as we sit are Dallas in 7 or Minnesota in 7. But I don't, maybe Dallas in 6, but I'm like, you talk about the pressure of going back home in front of your home crowd. You got to imagine if Minnesota dominates Dallas tonight, they're going to come out hot and swinging in game 6, take the first half, and they control their own destiny and can force a game 7. So
1,000%.
And then you hedge the bet or whatever the hell it is, right? It's
Yeah.
plus
I mean,
1,000,
if they could if you could put in the plus 1,000 today, and you think, hey, these guys are going to pull off the game tonight, and if they could pull off game 6, you have a beautiful. That's what handicappers dream of, to put in that hedge bet, and you're making money and enjoying the game no matter what happens.
Yeah. All right, now let's get to the serious stuff.
All right. Yeah, that wasn't that serious, right?
No, so I'm coming home from the gym yesterday. I hop on my phone, and I normally when I hop on a subway and I'm on my phone, everything cuts off and the signal goes, and you can't do anything, you can't watch anything. And so I hop on my phone on the subway, and Nasty's video is the first video on my For You page on TikTok, and nothing else was loading. So I'm like stuck here. I got to watch Nasty's full 6-minute video. You basically took me home yesterday in many ways. And
nice little subway ride, right?
I had a great subway ride, and everyone around me heard it too. I was not wearing headphones. I said, let me play this shit on full volume. This is electric. But
why not?
Basically what I got from it is there's someone out there, and I'll let you say his name and call him out for all his bullshit. But I wanted you to be on the show today, not only to give your analysis on why Minnesota blows them out, but to, just understand this is a real business, and people are just scamming this shit in many ways and being fake about it. And if you're going to be fake, then be ready to get called out for it. And my example to you was, I've seen this guy once every 8 months on my For You page when he hits a big ticket. And I'm like, wow, $1 million, $3 million. It's got an M next to it. But in reality, there's more to the story behind, this so-called sports betting genius who hits, $1 million parlay once every 6 months. So Nasty, take the floor.
Sure. So I came across Marco like everyone else did in 2022 when he hit the big ticket. He's sitting with his buddies, and I think all he needed was Cleveland to win the game. And then I made videos, and I'm gonna shrink this all into like a little universal story, right? Mm-hmm. So I made a video trying to say, hey, listen, that's great, but it's not really that great, right? Because what makes a great bet is people that don't have money and hit something big, right? That's like me, and I'm trying to get this, and everyone's like, Nasty, you're hating. I'm not. I'm just bringing you into reality. Him putting $200,000 to win $3 million is like me putting $200 to win $3,000. Right. Like, no one's gonna juice my balls for $3,000. The guy already has money. Congratulations. And this is where I get a little testy, because he's playing with house money. It's not money that he woke up and earned. His daddy left him money, and he's one of these degens that just take daddy's money. And I don't know what he does in his. Maybe he's still running the money and he's doing good with the business and all that. Kudos to you. But what irks me and irks a lot of people is that you're up on the main stage and you're using the word millions to what is it called? Like to make us all feel like something big.
Why are sports betting companies taking advantage of the word millions when they can simply just understand he put $200,000 on a +3, whatever the hell the ticket was. It was a 14. Like I hit that on a nightly. Like, what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not that great. It's not that great of a feat. And I'm trying to tell that to people, and I need them to understand the math behind it, because let's just pretend. Let's do a little math. Yep. Marco, let's pretend your 1 unit is 200,000, right? Because that's something I would drop 1 unit. 1 unit to me, and it just happens to be that the 1 unit is 200. Mine's 200. My 1 unit. So his being, let's just pretend, because that's what the bet was 200,000. So I'm assuming that's his 1 unit. So basically what the guy did was turn 1 unit into 16 units, right? Is that what the math comes out as? 3.2 million, right? And I mean, that's not that impressive. And in the video, if you saw, I showed a ticket, right? Did you see my ticket?
Yep, I did.
It was $100 free bet. And I'm not trying to go toe to toe with the guy. I'm just trying to show you that is more impressive because it's not my money and it's a half a unit. And I won, I think 30 some units, right? Or whatever it is. It came out to, let's see, that's 3. So it came out to close to like 27 units, right?
Yeah.
But my point is, I didn't make a video. I didn't scream my balls and I have the biggest balls and blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. So that's fact 1, right? Is that, okay? Is that, whatever that is. The math doesn't equate and everyone's excited about the $1 million talk. Great. So you don't have millions. Go ahead.
Why is a sports book letting somebody put $200,000 on a parlay?
Because he down. I've been doing, Jack, I promise you, look at me in the face. This man is down. I am really good friends with MGM's, one of the top VIP bet hosts that you could find out here. I know several. We go fishing, we go on the boats, we hang out, and these guys tell me story after story after story. No book, if you're killing a book or you're even semi dangerous to a sports book, they're not giving you that action. The only time they give you action like that is if you're down, because they're giving you the benefit, because they're like, hey, if you're down already and you're going to play like a fool, we'll let you keep playing like a fool. That's why you always see, if you see guys hitting big parlays and they're showing big tickets, they're down. I don't give a fuck which way you want to try to slice this cake, and I'll help feed it to you. You are fucking down. And I promise you that.
No,
I know guys, Jack, I know guys that are not even close to that level, that maybe bet $1,000, $2,000, and they're really sharp, really good, and they start limiting you on when and how you could place a bet. They're not going to maybe cut your action off, but they're going to definitely start cutting down how you and when you can place a bet, because they don't want you to get those sharp lines out. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to say it one more time. If you're putting 200,000, and not even 200,000 to win 200,000, 200,000 to win 3.2 million, I promise you, on everything that God loves in this earth, you are fucking down. So it's not impressive.
You're probably down a calm, cool, and collected $250 million.
Yeah, no, he's down. I would have to guess. I mean, and here's the thing. And then if you do the math, right? Let's do the math on this, and you could do this at home once you see the video.
I got the paper.
If you're putting, hang on, my DMX came on. Let me get this off. DMX typing me up. All right, fuck it. Can you hear the DMX or no?
No, I got it. I got you now. You're good.
Every time I push this in, it goes that. The math is, if we're only seeing Marco hitting these once every, let's just call it 6 months.
6 months.
And you got to imagine he's putting this in once a week. I mean, he's got to stay relevant. That's his whole goal. He's not. And here's the thing with Marco. I don't know if he's trying to be like a handicapper. I don't know if he's saying, pay me and I'll give you advice. If he's not doing that, then fine. We'll all watch you fucking act like you won a lot of money and you're screaming in the camera and shit. And that's great. But if you're acting like, hey, I'm that guy and I'm going to tell you what to do, what not to do, and we only seeing one video every 6 months, that don't add up to profitability. I mean, and
what's the
just say
math
that
on
he puts it in. Yeah, put the math in. Let's say he does it 4 times a month. And I mean, that's a disciplined degen to only do 4 times a month because he's got to make these videos to stay relevant, right? That's 800,000. 800,000 times 6. What is that? You got quick math over there? You're the youngster. Aren't you in college?
8 times 6.
What's 8 times 6?
48.
48. So he's down a
Is it
250,000.
bro? Don't trust me, bro.
Let's just say he's down $500,000.
Yeah.
I mean, no, he's down $5 million doing this.
Yeah, let's just imagine he is literally putting $1 million. You're saying 800. Let's just put it at he's putting $1 million on these 4-teamers, once a month, and he's hitting it. It's coming out that he's hitting it basically once every 6 months.
Yeah, so now he's put it.
$5 million.
Yeah, you're down $5 million to win 3.2. Listen, the sports book, if they open up your books and they go, oh yeah, that we like that, let them keep doing it. And in fact, when he wins, we'll even publish it. They love that shit. Yes. Remember I tell you CEOs jerking off all over the secretary? That's when that comes in. They go, oh my God, we got another millionaire that wants to be on video. Let's feed everybody. That's what it comes down to.
You're 100% right. And I hope that if anybody watches this, it just opens their eyes to anybody trying to be a fraud online, basically.
Listen to this. Here's going to be a hot take. I've been calling him out on all my social platforms. And sometimes he takes the bite. Sometimes he don't. Sometimes he just calls me he'll just come on publicly, go, this guy's a loser, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to waste my time. But Marco, again, I challenge you. You say you do this and you do that. Let's take the challenge. It's only 10 grand, right? A little friendly bet. The wife probably likes expensive bags and shoes. 10 grand for the NFL season. We'll put 3 to 5 bets in. We'll make it public. We'll give the money to someone we trust in the industry, and we'll go toe to toe. If I lose at the end of the season, which could happen, I will publicly say, listen, Marco got me, and we'll run it back the next year if you want. Or if you lose, you come out and publicly say, listen, I'm Marco the fraud, and I just do parlays for fun. One or the other. You know why he won't take it, Jack?
Because he's scared.
Not so much he's scared. It's just it doesn't fit his narrative of I'm Marco the millionaire. Same thing with every little man in history, right? You had Napoleon. You had the painter, right? They call him the painter. They call him all the little men in history that always screamed can't take the bite on something because then they become frauds. So he's better off standing on top of the mountain just pounding his chest. So,
yeah.
But the message is to all the youngsters out there, don't get caught up in the millions, get caught up in the numbers. Understand how sports books work. Understands how casinos and bookies work. Even local bookies are not going to give you they're not going to sit there and they like their lifestyle. Just like a CEO of a sports book. They're not going to let you sit there and just kick them in the nuts for parlays and you're winning. They'll cut you off faster. And then the industry will know who you are. And then they'll cut you off faster than you could fucking blink. And you'll be begging, okay, I'll behave. It's too late. We don't want your action no more. That's it.
That's how the game works. That's a hell of a, explanation on all facets of the game there.
Yeah.
I have a top 5 duos list right now that I want to share with you.
Yeah, bring it out.
All right. So not all time. This is just current. You got LeBron and AD at 5. That's kind of interchangeable with KD, D Book, and any of those, upper tier duos that I don't mention here. At 4, Embiid and Maxey. At 3, Jokic and Murray. At 2, Luka and Kyrie. And at 1, Tatum and Brown. So to you, who do you think is kind of the best duo in the league right now as we speak? If you can give me a top 3, like what are we thinking here? How do you feel about me having Tatum and Brown at 1, Luka and Kyrie at 2, and Jokic and Murray at 3?
Tatum and Brown at 1 are definitely, I agree with you. They've been playing around each other so long that they trust each other. No one throws a fit if the other one takes a shot. They got each other's back. And I mean, you're right, spot on with the first 1 and 2.
Mhm.
And the only reason Kyrie works is that he's taking a step back and saying, "Listen, Luka's the man, and I'm just going to be this guy in the shadows." It takes all the pressure off of him. It takes him when he doesn't want to perform. He's like, "I was focused on defense, whatever."
Mhm.
But yeah, for sure, 1 and 2 are spot on, and everyone else after that, uh, Murray and Joker, yeah, sure. I
Alright,
mean, there's
and
not
then
too many duos out there that are.
no, and that's kind of the idea of a duo is you gotta be able to win and be around in the conference finals and in the NBA finals, and consistently Tatum and Brown are there. The final thing I wanna say to you is everyone's making this claim that the Celtics have the 6th or 7th best player in the league right now, and when you look at back at the history of the game, there are very few teams that won the championship with the 6th or 7th best player, and normally it's kind of the alpha that gets it done. And so if it does become Dallas versus Boston, it's Luka Doncic kind of as that alpha, which is what everybody's talking about, versus the Celtics team. And I view it as, sure, the Celtics have a really, really good team, but they also have alphas. They also have guys that have been there before. Actually, Tatum's been to a finals. Luka hasn't. So the experience level is going to be there for Boston at all facets. So if I were to rank, just the top 5 guys, this is why I think Tatum's a top 5 player in the league. And you might disagree with me because of the talent in the league and just the superstars, but it would be Luka, Jokic, Giannis, and Embiid. Those are kind of the consensus top 4 from what I understand. To me, I think you can only have an argument for Jokic as to Jokic being better than Tatum. Giannis, where has he been the last 2 years? Embiid can't get out of the second round. Luka, this is kind of his, first big moment other than the Western Conference Finals a couple of years ago. We knew Steph Curry was just going to handle them. To me, I think it's Tatum and Jokic and Luka at the top, and everybody else follows. But there's so much talent in the league. You can't just say he's the 6th or 7th best player. You have to say Jayson Tatum is one of the best players in the league. And as a matter of fact, he might be the most complete scorer and basketball player at this current moment in time. What do you have to say to all that craziness?
I look at, and this goes back to our Steve Nash. Remember, I said Steve Nash was the Swiss pocket knife, and he kept the team running. Joker for Denver. You take Joker off that team, Denver probably don't even make the playoffs.
Yep.
I'm being serious.
I agree.
I don't even think they make the playoffs. You take Tatum off the team, I think Boston still makes the playoffs. I don't think they go as deep.
I don't. They're not a championship team, and that's what
No,
people just need
not
to understand.
not at all. No, I think they make the playoffs means you get maybe past the first round, and after that you get you just can't rely. Brown can't run a team just like Kyrie tried to go to the Nets or Boston, and see what happens. You don't have that other guy taking the attention. Because certain guys just you're the number 2 guy, and you're great at the number 2 guy, just like Pippen. When Jordan left, Pippen thought, "Hey, I can still," and he did. He did all right, but that's what happens. The number 2 guy just can't carry, and you're the number 2 guy, and you're a great number 2 guy because you're just the number 2 guy. But my point is that the question is what was the question? First of all,
So just the top 5 players in the league right now. Like if you had to go down the
Oh.
list and make your top 5, to me, everyone's putting Tatum out of the top 5, and I'm like,
no,
you
no,
can't
not
do
at
that.
all.
You
No,
can't. He's been
Tate,
he's been here for the last 3 years as one of the more dominant players in the league, and all he does is win.
yeah, no, I'll take Tatum all day, top 5. Why not?
So
I think it goes like 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5 are a bunch of exchangeable guys on any given night, I guess. I hate to be the guy that cops out of the list here, but there's a lot of guys you could plug in there. But I would take Tatum on any night over anyone that. He's long, he's athletic, he has a nice shot, he could go inside, outside, he plays great defense.
so
What
he's
else do you
better.
want?
So he's better than Luka.
Yeah, oh yeah. Luka in this league, is I don't know. I'll tell you this. If Luka wouldn't cry all goddamn game, I would say he's better than Tatum. Look, I mean, Luka is completely distracted 24/7. If it's not the fans, if it's not the refs, if it's not him talking shit to the other team's bench, this is
Mhm.
why I think that the Wolves have. You're gonna see Luka so tight, so focused, so fucking the biggest crybaby in Game 6. If they could get there,
Mhm.
you're gonna freak out. And if that game goes to Game 7, motherfucker, you better watch out because that's gonna be. You're gonna see a crazy fucking game.
Mhm. So to kind of wrap this thing up with some best bets to get the people out of here with some tickets. Uh we're looking at Minnesota in a big blowout fashion tonight. I want to say the spread opened at 4.5. Let me look it up.
I think it's minus 4.5, -5. I
Yeah.
think it will climb.
Yep. So you get that shit in right now.
Yeah, get it in. I think by game time you're going to see that thing. Maybe 6.5.
Mm, I like it. Yeah. I like Minnesota. Are there any MLB plays you have leaning towards today or
No,
not?
let's not fuck around with today. What is the current spread right now?
4.5.
Minus 4.5.
That's what it said. Hold on. Yeah. Minus 4.5.
Okay, look at me. Sometimes we fuck around too much in sports betting. And I'm going to tell my whole team tonight. I'm going to say, listen, guys, this has blowout written all over it. I'm going to take my chances. I don't think, I think Luca and them think they're going to stay close. I think if Minnesota even runs to like 13-point lead, you're going to see Luca and the Dallas always has that. Dallas has it in them to just start launching threes, and Luca's trying to get them back in the game. But if Anthony and them fucking Edwards and Cat and all the boys decide, hey, let's just run these boys out. Let's meet them in Game 6, which I think is going to happen. Let's not fuck around today. My point is, Nasty from Nasty Sports. I'm putting everything, all units deploying on on the Timberwolves tonight, minus 4.5. And I'm going to do it right after the game. I might drop 5 to 7 units on it, and that's only thing I'm touching today. No baseball, no nothing. Because this is
Nope.
one of those games. Because sometimes as a handicapper, we're looking for like, okay, we found 3 games that we kind of like, and I'm gonna spread out my units on it and see if I could go 2-1. You want to find a profit, right?
Not
Today,
to
I'm dropping it all on the Wolves, and if it misses, then I lick my wounds and get ready for the NBA Finals.
to back up your claim of Dallas is going to just try and stay in it all game. I feel like in the first 4 games, all Dallas is trying to do in the
Yeah,
first 3 quarters is stay in the game. They're not even trying to like get ahead.
no,
It's just simply trying to survive till the fourth quarter when they know they can be at their best. I think Minnesota does not allow for Dallas to stay in this game tonight. They can run away with it by halftime. They can be up 15 at the half, run
I
away with
agree.
the game in the third quarter, and Luka Doncic is on the bench by the start of the fourth quarter, and he does not see the floor for the rest of the game. I think this
I
is
agree. Uh, I could see them pulling the plug and being like, okay, let's just fucking focus on Game 6 and let's just get out of this fucking city and get back home and just try to figure out how we win Game 6. Like pulling the plug early. Um, that's why I'm saying like this fits the bill, and I'm not even gonna fuck around and tease everything else or go find a player prop. I'm just gonna hammer Minnesota, and if it hits, I feel like that's what it should be. Because Minnesota hasn't had that one game yet where they just go like, let's just run these boys out the fucking gym. And
mhm.
I think they're going to come in laser focus. I mean, I would even be scared and put everyone on caution to not take any player props that go over, because if this goes Game 4, I mean, if this goes into the fourth quarter and it's a 25-point lead and Dallas pulls their players,
Mhm.
Minnesota's not leaving their players. And so now you're sitting there watching scrubs play, and you're like, "Fuck! What?" I was hoping that Ant would drop 35 points or something.
There are so many nightmare occurrences of that. The one that sticks out to me the most is the Celtics were playing the Warriors in the regular season, and they went up 50 at halftime, and
Oh yeah,
everyone was lighting it up for the Celtics. but Jayson Tatum had 29 points at halftime, and his over was like 29 and a half, 30 and a half, whatever the hell it was. He didn't come back in the third quarter.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, there's
It's
nightmares,
like
man.
you just gotta simplify
Yeah,
sometimes and no fucking around. I love it. I absolutely
yeah.
love Minnesota tonight. Appreciate you for coming on today. Everyone go sign up for SoBet using code Jackpot. And Nasty's getting hot over there. This is prime time of it all right now.
Prime time.
An absolute nuclear whale on Minnesota to get it done in a blowout fashion tonight. So Minnesota Timberwolves -4.5 is the play of the day from the Morning Jackpot. We will see y'all next time. We'll see y'all tomorrow.